Hello everyone, this is your first actual assignment with trig, and the first thing we need to do is figure out what are the trig functions. So you have sine, cosine, and tangent. When you go to write the functions, you usually don't write out the full words. They have three-letter abbreviations that you use. This would be sine, it's an N, cosine, and tangent. Please don't say sin, cos, tan. Okay, you say the whole word when you read this. You say sine, you say cosine, you say tangent. Okay? Again, don't say sin, cos, tan. Nope. Okay. SOHCAHTOA. Each letter stands for what you do. Sine is your opposite side over your hypotenuse. Sine is your opposite over your hypotenuse. Cosine is your adjacent over your hypotenuse. And tangent is your opposite over your adjacent. Okay? Which side is which? Meaning who's opposite, who's adjacent, depends on what angle you're standing on. Again, SOHCAHTOA, before I erase this, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. SOHCAHTOA. Okay? I've highlighted this to be red, or changed the color to be red, because that's the angle I want you to stand on. I want you to stand here. In this one, I want you to stand on angle B. In both of these triangles, oh, and you guys can assume for the duration that it's always going to be a right triangle, and C is always going to be the right angle. Always. Okay? If they're using A, B, and C, C is always the right angle. Okay? They don't always use A, B, and C, but I'm just saying. Okay? If it is, C is always the hypotenuse. All right. Here goes. If you're standing here, wait, yep, let me back up. The hypotenuse is always this side. Always. It's opposite the right angle. So that you don't have to figure out. You know it's there. It's opposite the right angle. Okay? Who is the adjacent and who is the opposite depends on what angle you're standing on. They'll never have you stand on the right angle. You're always going to stand on one of these two angles. If I'm standing on angle A, the sine of angle A is going to be your opposite side. This side is your opposite side. This side is adjacent to A because it's touching A. This side is your adjacent. We'll do some with numbers in just a minute. Okay? Cosine of A is your adjacent over hypotenuse. So you take the adjacent and put it over your hypotenuse. Sine would be your opposite side over your hypotenuse. And tangent is going to be your opposite over your adjacent. If, however, you're standing on angle B, this bottom side is not your opposite side because it's touching B. This side is your adjacent. This side over here is opposite angle B. Notice which side is opposite and which side is adjacent depends on what angle you're standing on. It's angle dependent. Okay? So in all these problems, you're going to need to draw a triangle. Okay? It says you got triangle CDE. Now, since they're not using ABC, C is not, you can't assume that's the right angle. They're telling you here that E is the right angle. So I would recommend that you draw yourself a picture. Okay? My nice lame right triangle. E is the right angle, so you know that's E. Because the other two sides are C and D, it doesn't matter which way you draw the triangle. If this is going to be C and this is going to be D, this problem would equally work out if you drew it. Well, here, let me give it the same orientation so they don't think I'm changing the orientation on you. As long as E is the right angle, it's not going to matter which one is D and which one is C. But I strongly recommend you draw a picture. Here goes. DC is 37. So that's 37. ED is 35. And CE is 12. They want you to find the sine of angle D. So switch colors here for a second. They're talking about angle D. This one. So the sine of angle D is going to be your opposite over your hypotenuse. This side is opposite. This side is your hypotenuse. So your answer would be 12/35. Now I know they say round, but just run with me for a second. Okay? Here, again, CE is 12. Same thing. CE is 12. ED is 35. And 37 is the hypotenuse. If you want the sine of this angle, so let me write it this way, sine of angle D. Okay? Notice I'm dropping the E because when you write the trig function, you usually don't have this letter there. Just like with cosine, you'd write COS. Okay? Or tangent is TAN. The sine of D is your opposite side, opposite, over your hypotenuse, 37. So the orientation that once I place E, doesn't matter which one is C and which one is D. You come up with the same answer. 12, whoops, 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 whoops. Hey, who let me write that? Who let me write that? Good Lord. 37 is the hypotenuse. Sheesh. If it was a snake, it would have bit me. Okay. 12/37. Sorry about that, you guys. You should have spoke up. Oh, wait. It's not live. Okay. Maybe I couldn't speak. It says round to the nearest hundredth. So you just grab your calculator. And you're going to type in 12 divided by 37. Enter. And you're rounding to the nearest hundredth. And I'm not sure that... I wasn't sure whether the stylus I'm using would give you the pointer, but it does. Okay. Here's hundredth. 100 has 2 zeros on it. So you're looking to the 2 decimal places of what you want to give, but you look to the third. That's less than 5, so you just have 0.32. So your answer is 0.32. That's what you're going to type into Delta Math. Okay? See if I cannot make a mistake on this one. All right. All right, so you need a triangle. That's the right angle. It says Z is 90. The other letters are X and Y. Doesn't matter which one's X, which one's Y. They tell you ZY is 16. XZ is 63. And YX, the hypotenuse, is 65. It says, what's the value of tangent? So tangent is going to be your opposite over your adjacent. And they want the tangent of Y. So you stand on Y, you're standing here. That dictates this is going to be the opposite side because it's opposite the angle. And this is your adjacent because it's touching Y. Opposite over your adjacent. Just type this thing in your calculator. So 63 divided by 13. And it says round to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to look to this. That's a 6. So I round that up to 5. So it's 485. So 4.85 is what you would type in for an answer. Okay? So we've done sine, we've done tangent. So this one's a cosine. And notice on this one, give you a chance to read it, it doesn't say anything about rounding. So that just means whatever you get for a fraction, that's what you would type in. You don't have to type it in your calculator, just give that fraction. Okay? So draw yourself a triangle. Whew, the triangles are getting worse. You'd think they'd be getting better. All right, let me pull some of that off. All right. Y is 90 degrees, so that's this one. I've got W and X to work with. W, X. Once you have it labeled, then start filling stuff in. XY, or YX, is 33. Sorry, my dyslexia was jumping out again. WY is 56. And XW is 65. It says what ratio represents the cosine of x. So the cosine of x, cosine is your adjacent over hypotenuse. This is the adjacent side. Oops, yeah, because it's x. I almost thought I was doing the wrong one. It's touching x, so that's your adjacent. Hypotenuse, well, that's, you guys know what the hypotenuse is. So adjacent over hypotenuse is 33 over 65. And it didn't say anything about rounding, so that's what you type in your calculator. Or sorry, that's what you write in for an answer. You don't type it in your calculator because it doesn't say round. Okay? That should do it. If you guys have any questions, please come to office hours. I'd love to help.